This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 348. How many of these millionaire spending habits do you have? By J Money of budgetsaresexy.com. And I am Dan, your host with the most awesome blogs about money, investing, personal finance, and more. And hey, maybe you have some ideas for us. Come share those topic requests over at oldpodcast.com. And this episode is brought to you by SendPro from Pitney Bowes. SendPro has 3 times the features of Stamps.com at 1/3 the price. Visit pb.com/finance to learn more and try it free for 90 days. After that, you'll get SendPro for only $5 per month. That's 1/3 of the cost of Stamps.com. That special $5 rate is good for the lifetime of your SendPro subscription, but only when you sign up at pb.com/finance. Now, let's get your hump day off on the right foot and start optimizing your life. How many of these millionaire spending habits do you have? By J Money of budgetsaresexy.com. In honor of missing out on Millionaire Day over the weekend, blasphemy! I thought we'd go over some of the frugal habits of the wealthy today and see how we compare. I saw Free Money Finance do this over on his own blog the other day, so if you're wondering, yes, I'm going to totally copy him. Although, in all fairness, he did nab the list from my good friend Tom Corley over at richhabits.net, and we were friends first, so nanny boo-boo. Tom spent 5 years tracking the habits of the wealthy, as well as the poor, and then came out with a ton of stats he later turned into books, with his most celebrated one being Rich Habits, the Daily Success Habits of Wealthy Individuals. You might recall him from our Rich Habits series over on Rockstar Finance, too. I'm obsessed with his stuff. Anyways, every day, he shares nuggets from his research over on his blog, and recently put out The Frugal Spending Habits of Millionaires. 8% shopped at Goodwill stores. Same here. You know what they say, once you go used, you can never go new. 20% used coupons. Do online coupons count? I haven't rocked a physical one in years, but I love my Honey extension. Saves me dollars almost every time I click, though sadly I've run out of all the coupons for domain names, probably a sign to stop freaking buying so many. 64% said they lived in a modest, middle-class home. Yep, 1,100 square feet, 3 beds, 1 bath here. 28% mowed their own lawns to save money. My wife asked if I could teach her how to do it so she doesn't have to pester me all the time, and after I taught her, she enjoyed it. I made sure to mow the rest of it. I can take a hint. 44% only purchased used cars. While I do go back and forth between nicer cars and hoopties, I've actually never purchased a brand new car in my life. I enjoy riding in others' newer cars, but just can't stomach the drop in depreciation the moment they're driven off the lot. 19% manage their investments themselves. They do not use financial advisors in order to save money. Yep, same here. I'm not opposed to using advisors, and for some people I'd recommend it, but now that I literally only invest into one main fund, there isn't much to manage. I reckon as our finances get more complicated down the road, we'll be knocking on the door of some planners. If not, at least estate planners. That area is all kinds of confusing. 60% said they were frugal with their money. I'd say I'm about 75-25 on this one. I definitely don't spend away aimlessly and pick up junk, but I also don't watch all my pennies or keep convenience at bay. I like collecting my coins and currency, and I like my coffee shops even more. This randomly reminds me of my post last year on the 7 most mind-blowing ways to save money ever. I think it's one of my finest. 81% used credit cards that offered reward dollars. This way, they could get something for free. I do rock my USAA Cash Rewards card. However, it's certainly not the best out there, nor do I hack around scoring free points and cash everywhere. I give mad respect to those who can optimize them, but for me, it's one main card and keeping everything as minimal as possible. I can barely keep track of my own 2 kids, no less dozens of cards. And lastly, 41% spent less than $3,000 on their annual vacation. I think the last time, maybe the only time we spent $3,000 on a vacation was on our honeymoon almost a decade ago. It always astonishes me how much people spend for trips. But then again, I rarely take one anymore since becoming self-employed, so I kind of admire it. The most we spend these days are a few hundred for a weekend away at a bed and breakfast. Still too scared to go away more than a few days with our wee ones. How do parents do it? But yeah, it looks like a ton of millionaires still subscribe to frugality after reaching their financial pinnacles. I guess it helped get them to where they are, so it makes sense, right? Just like my parents having a hard time retiring because it meant spending money for the first time in their lives versus saving it. You just listened to the post titled, How Many of These Millionaire Spending Habits Do You Have? By Money of budgetsaresexy.com. And speaking of saving money, this episode was brought to you by SendPro from Pitney Bowes. SendPro has 3 times the features of Stamps.com at 1/3 the price. They've negotiated special rates for SendPro users, and savings start at 3 cents per stamp. But not only that, you can actually print the stamps straight from your computer, saving even more money and time. You can get an incredible deal only through pb.com/finance. That deal is, you'll get SendPro free for 90 days. You'll get a free 10-pound scale, and when your free trial is over, again, this is after a full 90 days, you'll get SendPro for only $5 a month, and that rate is good for the life of your SendPro subscription. That's $5 a month compared to $15.99 a month for Stamps.com, which is 3 times the features of Stamps.com at 1/3 the price. Again, you can get all of that through our special link, pb.com/finance. Pitney Bowes are masters in the craft of making your business succeed, and we thank SendPro for sponsoring this podcast. And that does it for another fantastic post from Money of Budgets Are Sexy and Rockstar Finance. If you enjoyed this as much as I did, please do come back and listen again tomorrow, where your optimal life awaits.